Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh Panyam, your physics dude. Welcome back to my channel. Let's discuss the third part of thermometry. I hope you all have seen the other two parts of thermometry where I explained everything about the basics of thermometry. Then we discussed about in my second video everything about thermometers, how we convert the scales from one to other, all the graphs. In the third part, I am going to tell you everything about the thermometers and how we measure the temperature of sun, how we measure the temperature of an insect, everything we are going to discuss in this video. Before I start teaching, if you really like my content, please subscribe my channel and click the bell icon for future updates and click the symbol. And let's see what exactly we are going to learn in this video. Yeah, before I go to thermometers, let's see the two memes that we come across in physics in this thermometry. In the first one, if you look at this picture, when the temperature is 0 Kelvin, okay, when the temperature outside is okay, not 0, sorry. When the temperature outside is okay, yeah, we'll feel comfortable, right? So that's why these boys are laughing. When the temperature is 0 Kelvin, look at this expression. 0 Kelvin means what? 273.16 minus 273.16. So you cannot survive. So this meme says that when the temperature is okay, very good. When the temperature 0 Kelvin, so it means actually minus 273.16. You can observe his expression. So now other one is the two cats are touching each other. They're saying, shouldn't we have reached thermal equilibrium by now? We all know that the two bodies reach the thermal equilibrium. That means they exchange energy only when there is in contact. Okay, so just keep hugging. So that means it means that in order to get the thermal equilibrium, yes, we require a physical contact, right? So jokes apart, let's get into the real part of this today's discussion, that is thermometer. So what is a thermometer? So if you look at this picture, it says thermometers are just speedometers of atoms. What is the meaning of this? Why they are called speedometers of atoms? Remember, in my earlier video, I said absolute zero. Absolute zero is the temperature, that is just now I said minus 200.16 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, velocity of the molecules becomes zero. Other than these temperature, the molecules of a gas will be in random motion. That means they have velocities. That means the temperature of a body depends on the velocity of the atoms. Higher the velocity of the atom means higher the temperature. So if you want to convert a liquid to vapor, we need heat. So the temperature of the vapor will be more than a liquid. So that's why we say, what is a thermometer? Thermometers are the instruments which means they measure the temperature of the speedometers of atom means higher the speed of the atom means higher the temperature. In other words, we can say that a thermometer is a device used to measure temperature. So just like a speedometer measures the speed of a vehicle, a thermometer is nothing but which measures the speeds of atoms indirectly. They're measuring temperature. Now, what is the principle of thermometer? Let's understand. Remember, thermometer works on the principle. One important word we have to understand is thermal expansion of materials. Thermal expansion of materials, or I can say substances. So thermometer works on thermal expansion of materials or substances we can write. Now let us understand what is meant by a thermometric substance. Any substance used in the thermometer for measuring temperature, we call it as a thermometric substance. Whatever the substance that helps us to measure the temperature, we call it as a thermometric substance. Remember, we can use mercury. So we can use a mercury for measuring temperature. So mercury is a thermometric substance. We can use alcohol. So alcohol is a thermometric substance. We use hydrogen gas in some thermometers. We call hydrogen a thermometric substance. And even we use a platinum wire. A platinum wire also a thermometric substance. So any substance that helps us to measure the temperature, we call it as a thermometric substance. Then what exactly meant by what is meant by thermometric property? That's very important thing. What is thermometric property means? Thermometric property means any property of matter that changes with the temperature. I'll repeat, any property of matter that changes with the temperature. Let us list out some thermometric properties. The first one is length of liquid. The length of a liquid column changes with the temperature. So we know that in a thermometer, length changes with the temperature. Then we can write at constant volume, the change in pressure. The change in pressure. That means when we keep the volume constant, the pressure of a gas directly proportional to temperature. So pressure changes with the temperature. Let's take the third one. At constant pressure, the volume of a gas. At constant pressure, the volume of a gas. At constant volume, the change in pressure of a gas. So volume is also a thermometric property. And the fourth one, the resistance. I said resistance of platinum wire changes with the temperature, or even we can write amount of radiation emitted by a body. Amount of radiation emitted by a body. Remember, as the temperature increases, amount of radiation emitted by a body increases. Amount of radiation. So all these are thermometric properties. As I said, length of the liquid column, the pressure of a gas at constant volume, or the volume of a gas at constant temperature, pressure, the resistance of a wire, and even the amount of energy emitted by body. All these properties changes with the temperature. That's why they are known as thermometric properties. Let me answer the next question. Let us see what are the different types of thermometers. We'll go one by one. Let's talk about the first one is a mercury thermometer. What is a mercury thermometer? A thermometer in which mercury used as a thermometric substance is known as a mercury thermometer. Now the question is, what are the advantages of using a mercury? That's very important. If you look at this mercury boiling point and melting point, freezing point, you should understand. Remember, mercury freezes at minus 38 degrees centigrade and boils at 356 degrees centigrade. That means, in general, we can use a mercury thermometer in between 35 to around, we can take even 350. So that means a mercury thermometer can measure any temperature between 35, minus 35 to 350. Less than minus 35, more than 350, we cannot measure because of this freezing point and what we call as this boiling point. Another important thing is why only mercury is used. That's another important one. What are the advantages of mercury? The first point is mercury is a metal. Since it is a metal, it is a good conductor. Mercury is a good conductor. Third one is mercury has luster. Luster means the shining nature. We can see that the mercury has that shining nature. And the next one is it is opaque. So because of this, we can take the readings very easily. And it does not stick to the walls. It does not stick to the walls. So that's the other advantage. It erases very easily. And the sixth one is low specific heat. It has low specific heat. That means even for small change in temperature, the mercury will expand more. Another one is high density. If you look at the density of mercury is 13 gram per cc. That means it occupies very less space. So mercury is a metal, it's a good conductor, it has a luster, it is opaque, it does not stick to the walls, the low specific heat and high density. So these are the properties that help us to what called as use the mercury thermometer. On the other hand, why we don't use water thermometers? Just opposite. Water is not a metal, it is a bad conductor, do not have luster, it is transparent, stick to the walls, high specific heat, low density. Because of all these properties, water cannot be used in thermometer, so we use only mercury. Now, one question I need to answer here is, if you look at the bulb of a thermometer, why the bulb of a thermometer is in the form of a cylinder? Why it is not a sphere? They ask a question. Why the bulb of a thermometer is cylindrical in shape, but not spherical? So one important point you should understand that here if you look at the surface area of the cylinder is more than surface area of sphere. So when compared to the sphere, the surface area of the cylinder will be more. So the moment you keep it inside the mouth, below the tongue, since it has more surface area, more area of the thermometer will be in contact with the body and mercury will expand very quickly and it rises in the thermometer. So having the cylindrical bulb, the advantage is more surface area. More is the surface area, more easily the mercury will expand and immediately the mercury starts rising. Now, there is one more question. They ask in the exam, can we measure 500 degrees centigrade using a mercury thermometer? Just now I said using mercury thermometer, we can only measure 35 minus 35 to 350. But under certain conditions, we can measure even 500 also. See, this the question is given. Using mercury thermometer, can we measure 500 degrees centigrade? The answer is yes. But there is a condition. When the range can be increased by 500 degrees centigrade by filling the nitrogen gas at high pressure above the mercury column. This is a very interesting point. So if you look at this thermometer, and this is the bulb of the thermometer. So it contains mercury. This entire space is mercury. So what is saying, if you just fill the gap above this space above the mercury with nitrogen, because it does not react with mercury, it exerts pressure. When it exerts pressure, boiling point increases. Pressure increases the boiling point. We'll discuss more about that is in the next chapter, that is calorimetry. So since the boiling point increases, mercury will be liquid state even up to 5 degrees centigrade. So yes, by using this nitrogen above mercury, we can measure even up to 500 degrees centigrade. This is everything about the mercury thermometer. Why only mercury is used, all that. Now let's see the next one, a clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer is used to measure the temperature of the human bodies. Generally, we use in hospitals for measuring the temperature. If you look at a clinical thermometer, so generally it will be marked in 35 degree centigrade to around 43 degrees centigrade. And if you look at in Fahrenheit, it ranges from 92 Fahrenheit to maybe up to 110 degree Fahrenheit. That's very high temperature, just like that. So remember, this clinical thermometer has a bent here. This bent, otherwise we call it as a kink. So they ask a question, why a kink is provided? Because see, we keep the thermometer inside the mouth. The moment we'll take it out, and when you want to take the reading, you may take some time. So during that time, the mercury may contract and you may get the less reading. So this kink will slow down the contraction of mercury. So kink will slow down the contraction of mercury. That's why we require the kink for this clinical thermometer. Let's move on to the next one, that is a laboratory thermometer. So what is the use of a laboratory thermometer? A thermometer used to measure the temperature of some liquids in the laboratory. So generally we use. So in laboratory, instead of using mercury, we use alcohol thermometers, which are because these are cheaper than mercury thermometers. There is a problem with the alcohol. What is the problem? First problem is alcohol is transparent. Remember, alcohol is transparent. So you to make it colorful, this we use a red color dye is added to it. When we add a color to it, it becomes visible. Otherwise, this alcohol is transparent. You may not take the reading, but if you want to take the reading, so we add dye, a red color will be added to it. In recent time, you may have seen that many people started drinking this sanitizer because it contains some alcohol, and immediately the government has given order to make it colorful, so that people will understand that that is not alcohol, it is actually something else. So because this sanitizer contains a part of alcohol, and it ensured to that we have some more chemicals which are very harmful to this body. So many people have died because of that. So then we started getting orange color sanitizer, a blue color sanitizer, like that. The same logic here. Here why we add red color? Because red is visible, and to make it visible, we add a little bit of alcohol. Another problem with the alcohol is its freezing point. It freezes at -100 degrees centigrade, very low freezing point, and boils at very low, that is 78 degrees centigrade. That means alcohols evaporates very easily, but cools or it freezes at very, very low temperature. If you just keep one bottle of alcohol in a refrigerator, it won't freeze. Why? Because in a refrigerator, we cannot maintain this much temperature. So in general, alcohol thermometers can measure the temperatures from -100 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade. But by using liquid pentane in thermometer, we can measure up to -200 degrees centigrade, because it freezes at that low temperature. So the main advantage of this alcohol thermometer over mercury thermometer is they can measure very low temperature. So this alcohol thermometer meant for low temperature, whereas mercury thermometers are meant for high temperature. If you want to measure the temperature around 200 degrees centigrade, use mercury thermometer. If you want to measure temperature below 100 degrees centigrade, use alcohol thermometer. That is very, very important. Now let's move on to the next one. How do we measure the temperature of the sun? How do we measure the temperature of the sun here? So remember, to measure the temperature of sun, we use a thermometer called a pyrometer. It is a device used to measure the temperature of sun. But how do we measure the temperature, and how the temperature of the stars can be estimated? So to understand that, let me give a simple explanation. According to Planck's, energy of a radiation is given by h nu, where E is the energy, nu is the frequency. Nu is equal to c by lambda, where lambda is the wavelength, c is the velocity of light. So I can write E is equal to hc by lambda. That means energy of the radiation emitted by a hot body inversely proportional to wavelength. Higher the wavelength, less is the energy of that radiation. On the other hand, the energy emitted by a body directly proportional to its temperature. So higher the temperature, more is the energy. Just look at this one. If you look at a Bunsen burner and a candle will emit less energy when compared to a Bunsen burner. Okay, so that energy and temperature are directly proportional. So if you touch the flame coming from a burner, it is very intense. We can touch the flame coming from a candle, but we never dare to touch the flame coming from a burner because it is very intense. That means its energy is very high. So energy and temperature are also directly proportional. If you just combine them, that wavelength and temperature are inversely proportional. That means higher the wavelength of radiation, lower the temperature. If I take this spectrum with GR, so we all know that from left to right, wavelength increases. That means wavelength of red color is more than wavelength of blue. This is blue, this is red. So from this we got temperature wavelength are inversely proportional. Temperature of red color is less than the temperature of blue color. That means blue flame will be at higher temperature when compared to the red flame. We can put up the candle flame, but we cannot do it for this Bunsen burner because its temperature is very high. So remember, just by looking at the color of the flame, we can say whether it is at higher temperature or low temperature. We all know that most of the women, they can say whether the gas cylinder is full or is about to over just by looking at the color of the flame coming from the burner. They know that when the gas is about to over, the blue color of the flame turns to red. So when the flame turns to red, they understand that the gas is up because the combustion decreases and the color. So blue flame, it will be at higher temperature when compared to red flame. So from this discussion, we understand that this is an important point to understand. The temperature of a star is indicated by its color. Just by looking at the color of the star, we can say whether it is at higher temperature or lower temperature. Now let us compare the three stars that are there here. The one is the red star, yellow star, and a blue star. Look at the red star is around 3000 Kelvin, yellow star 5000, whereas a blue star is at 10,000 Kelvin. That means the temperature of the blue star greater than the temperature of yellow, which is greater than temperature of red. So just by looking at the color, we can say whether the star is at higher temperature or low temperature. This is important information you should understand. Remember, the core of the sun temperature is around 7,000 Kelvin. And in the laboratory, the highest temperature ever recorded was 10 power 8 Kelvin. The lowest temperature recorded was 10 power minus 10 Kelvin. Now, very interesting question we want to answer. How do we measure the temperature of an insect? What thermometer we use to measure the temperature of an insect? Remember, this thermometer is called thermoelectric thermometer. A thermoelectric thermometer is also known as a thermal. A thermoelectric thermometer, also thermal, a temperature measuring device consisting of two wires of different metals joined at each end. That is actually we call it as a thermocouple. So one important point you should understand here is a thermoelectric thermometer works on Seebeck effect. So as of now, you don't require what is this effect. You can learn later in +2. So he said that in this, there is a definition says that it consists of two different metals. So we take two metals. The two metals are bent like this. This is one metal. And let us take another metal like this, and it is bent like this. Let us take one is the copper, another one is iron. We can use any different metals. and even we connect a galvanometer here for measuring the temperature. So let's take one galvanometer. So remember, this is placed at low temperature. We call it as cold junction, which is maintained high temperature, and we call it as hot junction. Now, how do you measure the temperature? See, actually, this thermoelectric thermometer contains a thermocouple. This is actually we call it as thermocouple. Couple means two metals. Now, how do you measure the temperature? See, it is given. One junction. This is one junction, cold junction, hot junction. One junction is placed where the temperature is to be measured, and the other is kept at a constant low temperature. Now see, one junction is always made at low temperature. Now this junction is made to touch where you want to measure the temperature. See, I want to measure the temperature of this insect. Now see, if you look at this thermometer, you closely observe it. There you find one junction. This is the junction of two metals. So what we do here, this junction is made in contact with that insect whose temperature you want to find out. The moment this touches that insect, automatically the reading will change here. So remember, it is a very sensitive device. It can measure very, very small temperature also. So whichever body you want to measure the temperature, just keep it in contact with it and we'll get the reading. So this thermoelectric thermometer is used to measure the temperature of insects or the cruel animals. You want to find the temperature of a snake? Yes, we can use it. All that can be done. Now let us see another interesting one. What is this infrared thermometer? See, for example, nowadays, most of us have seen this thermometer. Some people say thermal gun, but actually it is an infrared thermometer. And whenever you stand, if you go to any shopping mall, and if you are in an apartment, whenever you stand in front of an elevator, it automatically opens. Or whenever you stand in front of an escalator, if you stand here, automatically we'll see that a red bulb will blink here and this start working. Then we have seen that in a restaurant, you want to dry your hands, just put your hand below the dryer, automatically it starts working. And even nowadays, some people are using these automatic taps. So no need to turn, there's no tap here, right? Just keep your hand below this, automatically the water starts coming from it. Even if you look at some hotels or any business places, there you find you have these automatic flush tanks. See, there is a sensor here. All these applications that I said just now, all of them works on, including this thermometer. Everything works on one simple principle, that every living object emit radiations known as infrared radiations. Remember, you cannot see a person in dark. Even though we are emitting infrared radiations, we cannot see anything. I cannot see this cat which is in the room when there is no light. I cannot see my hand in the room when there is no light. The reason is, even though they're emitting thermal radiation, that is infrared radiation, our eye cannot recognize. Let us have a notice of this. If our eye can detect all the radiations whose wavelength lies between 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer, that is from violet to red, only we can see them. Below violet, above red. So infrared radiation, ultraviolet radiation, our eye cannot see. We do that because they are not lying in our visible spectrum. So we can see only the colors, any radiation whose wavelength lies between these two, and below this or above this we cannot see, because the infrared radiation wavelength is more than 800, we cannot see them. Then how do we see? For that we require These goggles called infrared goggles. So those people who work in military and those people who work in forest and the scientists who work in forest during night time, when they want to observe some animals inside the dark, they wear their goggles. And when we observe this cat wearing that goggle, you'll find that this cat appears like this. These red patches shows that here the temperature of the cat is more. That means it is emitting more radiations here. Similarly, if you look at this hand, here if you look at the red part indicate that the hand is emitting more radiation here. So that's the reason why nowadays, whenever you go to any shopping mall, any place, first thing you are asked to stretch your hand, and what the security guard will do, they'll put this thermometer over a hand and they'll note down the temperature. Automatically, the radiation, the infrared radiation coming from hand will fall on the screen, and that radiation will be converted into temperature that can be noted here, and from that we can understand whether you are suffering from fever or not. So infrared thermometer works on the fact that all the human being, every living object emit radiation. So the radiation pyrometers are usually used to measure high temperature when physical contact of the hot body not possible. Remember, nowadays we are not using this mercury thermometers, we are using these radiation thermometers because we don't want to touch anyone. Without touching, still I want to know the temperature. So even the pediatricians, where they want to measure the temperature of the infants or the small kids, they use these thermometers to note down the temperature easily. Let's move on to the next one. So these are the some of the very interesting thermometers. Let's see the last one, that is the gas thermometer. What is a gas thermometer? A thermometer in which gas is used as a thermometric substance. I said hydrogen is used as a thermometric substance. The question is, why gas thermometers are known as standard thermometers? Or the other way they ask why they are more sensitive. Remember, the gas thermometers are more sensitive than liquid thermometers because gases expand more than liquids. And one more point, gases expand uniformly. Because of these facts, the gas thermometers are called standard thermometers, and they're also used widely. Okay, and gases expand more than liquid. This is how a gas thermometer looks, and we don't want to know how it uses to measure the temperature, all that we don't require. Just understand this is enough. Now let us find out an expression for temperature. I want to measure the temperature, so I need some expression for it. Let us derive an expression for it. So let us draw a thermometer or any, and already I discussed about the thermometric property. Let X be the thermometric property. X be the thermometric property. So a thermometric property changes with the temperature. Let us take when the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade, the value of that thermometric property is X naught. When the temperature is 100 degrees centigrade, thermometric property value is say X100. Now let us take some arbitrary temperature, say T degrees centigrade. Let us take at that temperature, the value of the thermometric property is Xt. So remember, as the temperature increases, the value of that X also increases. That means X is directly proportional to temperature. So I can take like this, the difference X100 minus X0 upon the difference in temperature 100 minus 0 is always a constant. That means the difference between these two divided by temperature is same as the difference between these two, Xt minus X0. Xt minus X0 by T minus 0. So what does it mean? When I say X proportional to T, I can write x by t constant. That's what I used. So x by temperature is constant. Now I want to find out the t value from this expression. So just to cross multiply that, or I can write x100 minus x0 by 100 is equal to xt minus x0 by t. So from that t is equal to, I want to find out t. So xt minus x0 by x100 minus x0 whole multiplied with 100. This is the expression for temperature, where x0 is the value of thermometric property at 0 degrees centigrade, xt is the volume of thermometric property at T degree centigrade, and x100 is the value of thermometric property at 100 degrees centigrade. Let us apply this expression for various thermometers. Suppose I have a liquid thermometer. So in liquid thermometer, what changes with the temperature? Length. So the thermometric property is length of the liquid. Simply substitute here. So T is equal to LT minus L naught by L100 minus L naught into 100. That means in a liquid thermometer, length changes the temperature. So simply keep in the place of X, let us keep L. Let's go to the second one, constant volume gas thermometer. For a gas, if I keep volume constant, remember pressure changes with the temperature. So here the variable is the pressure. Simply substitute. So this I can write Pt minus P naught upon P100 minus P naught whole multiplied with 100. Because when the volume is constant, the pressure of a gas changes with the temperature. Hence, pressure is a thermometric property. Similarly, let us see the third one, constant pressure gas thermometer. For a constant pressure gas thermometer, the variable is the volume. That means volume changes the temperature. So I can write the expression as T is equal to Vt minus V naught by V100 minus V naught into 100. Again, V naught is the volume of the gas at 0 degrees centigrade. V100 is the volume of the gas at 100 degrees centigrade. And Vt is the volume of the gas at T degree centigrade. So the last one is the resistance thermometer. If you look at the platinum wire, the resistance of wire directly proportional to change with temperature. So let us take a resistance thermometer. Remember, for resistant thermometer, thermometric properties are. So therefore, T is equal to, this is a very important equation, RT minus R naught by R100 minus R naught into 100. So this is the expression for the resistant thermometer. Again, R naught is the resistance at 0 degrees centigrade, RT is the resistance at T degree centigrade, R100 is the resistance at 100 degrees centigrade. So we can find out this temperature. So just by getting a general equation, we are able to find out all the other things. So let's move on to the last topic. So let us understand what is meant by a triple point. We all know that at boiling point, we have liquid state and vapor state, whereas at melting point, we have solid state and liquid state. But remember, if we maintain certain temperature and certain pressure, we can have the three states of matter, that is the solid state, the liquid state, and the vapor state. So what is triple point? The temperature and pressure at which the three states of matter coexist is known as a triple point. I'll repeat, what is triple point? The temperature and pressure, the three states of matter coexist is known as triple point. Remember, for water, the temperature at the triple point is 273.16 Kelvin. The pressure is 4.58 mm of Hg. Now let us see what is meant by modern thermometry. Remember, in modern thermometry, an important point you should understand, the temperature of, the triple point of water, the temperature at triple point of water is taken as the standard temperature. That is a very important point you should understand. In modern thermometry, what we take as the reference, the triple point, the temperature at the triple point is taken as the standard. Remember again, let us understand that X is a thermometric property which changes with the temperature. So I can write X1 upon X2 is equal to T1 by T2. Suppose when the temperature is TTR, means triple point, let us take the value of X is XTR. When the temperature is T, I want to know what is the value of X. Let us substitute here. In the place of X1, I write XTR upon, in the place of X2, X is equal to, in the place of T1, we know triple point of water as, this is a known value, 27.16, I don't know T value. If I cross multiply X by XTR whole multiplied with 273.16. By using this expression, we can find out the unknown temperature. They'll give you the value of X at some temperature, the value of X at triple point, and you know the triple point, we can find out. So they ask question, what is the difference between old thermometry and modern thermometry? A simple point. In olden thermometry, we use two reference points, ice point and steam point. And that's how we calculate. See, this is steam point, ice point, and we got the expression. Whereas in modern thermometry, we use only one temperature as the standard, that is the triple point of water, and we got this expression. So in modern thermometry, we use a triple point of water as the standard, whereas in the old thermometry, we take the two reference point, ice point as a steam point. So this finishes your complete information and applications of thermometers, how you measure the temperature of insects, how you measure the temperature of stars, what is this thermal gun, or we say infrared thermometer. I hope you understood everything that are related to thermometers. And in the beginning of my first video, I asked some questions. I think now I have answered every question that was there in the beginning. And thank you once again for watching my videos. And I wish you a happy physics learning. Thanks again. Please share my content and subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe my channel if you really like my content. I am trying to make physics as interesting as possible. Once again, thanks for listening and happy physics learning. Thank you once again.